It's very important when completing week 2, assignment 3, that you include evidence of your understanding of the design principle lectures that are in this week's course materials, especially the design principles of depth, overlapping, and diminishing size. I also want to see a clear understanding of positive and negative space and balance in your design based on the information in the lectures. This lecture also this project also deals with color and the illusion of depth. So all 4 lectures should be used to inform your decisions for week 1, assignment 3. You can see here in Illustrator, I've opened up an example of the templates that you did for week 1, assignment 2, and I've created a new file that's our standard size. It's 800 pixels wide by 600 pixels high. And I'm going to drag and drop. I'm going to select my interval that I'm going to use for this assignment and drag and drop it to the artboard. So now I have my colors that I need to use in my palette for my design. Choosing a background color for your composition is probably the most important part of this design, and as you've learned from the lectures, the background color should be very dark and it should be desaturated. So the color on the end here, well, it is dark, but it is not desaturated. It's actually the color next to it that has the least amount of saturation and is the darkest in value. So I'm going to select that one as my background color. I'm going to use the square tool to draw a background. Then I want that object to have the blue. Use the eyedropper to select the blue for the background. Okay, you're to use circles in your composition. I'm going to use squares, and I'm going to make a very, very basic composition just using geometric shapes to show you how to use hue, value, and saturation to create the illusion of depth. So I've set the background, which is the shape that's the furthest away from the viewer, and now I'm going to create shapes that are supposed to visually look like they get closer to the viewer. So my colors should become warmer, and they should become lighter, and they should become more saturated. Using the square tool, I'm going to draw a rectangle, and then select the color for that rectangle by using my eyedropper tool. Now you can see that it looks like the smallest rectangle is the closest to the viewer. However, we have black outlines around each one of the rectangles. Those black outlines act as fences and prevent the viewer from understanding the relationship between the colors and its environment. So you want to remove the outlines around each object. Outlines in graphic design are called stroke. This is your stroke palette here. You want to select the no stroke option. Make sure that you highlight the layer that you want to eliminate the stroke by using your direct selection tool. Now you can see that by eliminating the stroke, we see the relationships between the colors more clearly. The colors seem to transition smoother into each other, so we don't have an outline or that fencing around each object. For your design, you're to have 2 completed designs that are exactly the same, but the colors that you use are different. So you want to use one of either of your analogous intervals and one of either of your warm to cool intervals. Make sure that you're using circles only for your design. And make sure that you leave your palette in the bottom of the design so that we can make more appropriate selections if you need to edit your designs. So I want to take a moment and show you how dramatically the arrangement of colors can transform the way we understand the information that's in the composition. On the left, we have a design that uses scale and color to give us the illusion of sort of a pyramid shape, where this smallest shape is built on top of all of the other shapes. It looks like it is the closest object to us, like looking down on some sort of pyramid or building blocks that are coming toward the viewer. Whereas on the right, what we have is the opposite working for us. We have warm colors are still advancing, cool colors are receding, but we perceive the small square in the center as being the furthest away from us, so it looks like we're tunneling back in space. So you want to use the concepts in your lectures to manipulate the way the viewer perceives the arrangement of information in your composition. So you're going to use overlapping and scale in your design to give us the sense of one thing being on top of another, but you're going to use color as well to enhance the arrangement of the objects. So I want you to think about the marriage between composition and color. It's really hard to separate those two once you determine that you are going to have a composition with color. You have to then start thinking about the compositional elements in relationship to color.